With the merge upgrade, Ethereum is changing the consensus mechanism from proof of work to proof of stake. And this is just the beginning of a new era in blockchain technology, opening doors for many new users to join the network. We hope this Know Your Client series will help enthusiasts to take a step forward and turn into a contributor. Welcome to PEEPanEIP episode 80. I am Pooja Ranjan with William Shaw from the Ethereum Cat Herders, and we are joined by talented engineers of Lodestar, Gajinder Singh and Phil Nigu. Lodestar is a relatively new TypeScript implementation of Ethereum consensus layer client, joining the network approximately a year after the launch of Beacon Chain. The project is maintained by the ChainSafe systems. We will get to learn more about the client, the merge preparation, and utility apps made and used by Lodestar in this episode with Gajinder. Thank you for accepting invite.
Thanks, Pooja, for having me. I'm very excited to be here to present Lodestar, to represent Lodestar and present our merge preparedness on PEEPanEIP.
Maybe if we can get a brief introduction of yours about the professional background or how you get into Ethereum, because this is the first time you are here on our show. Right. It will be interesting for our listeners to know you more.
Right. So I primarily come from a Web 2 era, and I run my own consultancy. But when the Beacon chain was launched, I used to sort of, get into Discord of Lighthouse and do technical discussions there over with the team members over there. And one of the developers over there suggested, okay, what languages you are proficient at. And I said, okay, I'm coming from Web 2 and sort of TypeScript, JavaScript is the stack I'm most comfortable in. And then he suggested, why don't you hop on to the Lodestar Discord and see what those guys are doing. And I said, oh, wow, so our Ethereum consensus client in TypeScript and JavaScript. And they said, yes, they are doing good. And they're almost mainnet performant. And this is how I basically got into the Lodestar Discord, and there I started interacting with the team members, and very organically, I basically, got into the Lodestar development, and it's very happy to be here. It's an incredible team, and we have very incredible peers and doing incredible things. So that's how I got into this ecosystem. And there has been no stopping since.
Thank you so much for the introduction. This really is inspiring for any new user who have been lurking around Ethereum and are looking ways to get involved. So I hope this story of yours may inspire other people to join the Ethereum community. Well, I'm aware that you have got a great presentation to talk about.
Yep.
So without further ado, let's just peep in.
Okay, awesome. So Lodestar is Ethereum consensus in TypeScript, and we have about 655 GitHub stars, and this is being developed on the roof of ChainSafe. Lion is our team lead, and we have incredible team members like Cayman, Tuyan, Dade, myself, Phil, and I have a very, very new member that has joined our team, Nazar. So what we are here to talk about about merge and what exactly is merge, right? So there is this traditional Ethereum blockchain, which basically has the transactions in each of the block, which are modifying the Ethereum world state through something called Ethereum virtual machine, right? So these are the blocks that are being added, and they are modifying the state. And this is basically what results into the balances being transferred, the tokens being transferred, or tokens being minted or burned, right? So all the tokenomics that is behind it, right? So now what is happening is that we want to subsume this execution layer into the Beacon chain, right? We want to subsume these execution payloads into the Beacon chain, and this Beacon chain has been running since December 2020, and it has gone through an update, which basically provided native support for the Lightclients. So let's just have a small review of what this merge is all about. So what we want is we want to couple this execution layer, which basically is responsible for modifying Ethereum state with the consensus layer. Now, consensus layer's responsibility is how to build blocks to form the blockchain. And so these are the two modular parts of the new Ethereum ecosystem. And that's what we want to couple in the merge. And what we want to take Ethereum off is proof of work. And there is a huge effort that has been going on in this direction, led by Pari and Marius. And so it has been going on now since 7-8 months. And we had a very recent success in Sepolia merge, right? Basically, apart from the few configuration hiccups for the clients, it all went really well. So what are we trying to get out of the merge? We want sustainable security. Basically, we don't want to spend so much budget on basically making sure that, okay, miners are compensated. We want to really scale the transactions, and the way to do that is through data scalability. And that for that, Beacon chain is a stepping stone, because then the next things that are coming up are going to be sharding on the Beacon chain, and all that is sort of natively being integrated into the Beacon chain. The another thing that is being provided is finality, because in proof of work, there is no concept of finality. The highest difficulty, the head with the highest difficulty wins, but at any point, someone can build a chain which can reroute the canonical chain. But here in the Beacon chain, we have finality, and then we have Lightclients, which are sort of, we want to make sure that everyone, even with very less resources, they can sort of at least validate the chain natively, not and in a semi-verified way, so that less and less you need to trust less and less to the gatekeepers and of the APIs that connect to the nodes. And we all want to do this without sacrificing decentralization. That is the main point. So with all the good things, there is a natural question: when is the merge? And this has been asked again and again in the Twitterverse. And what I'm saying is that we are running out of testnets, so we are almost there. Next is go early, and Lodestar is ready. So Lodestar is the youngest consensus kit on mainnet, and we have been proposing mainnet blocks since November 2021, and basically we have been around even few months before that. So that's when we first got a chance to propose the block, and since then we have made huge strides. We are running on par with other clients. The profitability is on par. So Phil basically conducted a Twitter poll in which basically he presented that, okay, which one of these nodes is Lodestar, and which one is, for example, the other leading consensus clients. And of course, the last one is where the block proposal has happened. But in the other ones, there is no way to basically say which one is Lodestar and which one are the other leading clients that are running on the mainnet. So we are there, and that's why you should use us, because we are also production performant. We don't consume so much resources. People will think that a Java virtual machine will sort of hog the memory, will take too much CPU, but that's not the case here. Our team has worked really, really hard to make sure that we are production performant, and that is how we want to be. And obviously we are merge ready, and we have been participating in the merge since the beginning, since devnets, in the Kiln network, in Go Early Shadow Forks, in mainnet Shadow Forks, in Dropstone, in Sepolia. Next, we will be definitely doing a successful merge in Go Early, and then the mainnet is our goal. And the clients that we work really well with are Nethermind, Bazu, Ethereum.js. Aragon is a client that we are testing with to make sure all the points are covered, but other clients are sort of well tested. Obviously, Ethereum.js is not a client that is running currently on the mainnet, but on the Kiln network, on Sepolia network where the blocks are not heavy, you can also pair us and go full JavaScript stack, right? So, and the main sync features that allow us to be much ready are weak subjectivity sync and optimistic sync. Now, weak subjectivity sync is not really a merge feature. It's right now, it's working even now, but for the people who are coming from the proof of work landscape, right? When they will jump into into the new landscape where the consensus and execution layers are coupled, they will sort of need to just jump to the sync point, to the head, and weak subjectivity sync will allow them to sort of jump to the head and get them up and running in a minute. And optimistic sync is something that has been born out of this merge effort, because now we have two coupled clients, right? We have consensus and we have execution, and obviously their payloads have to match, right? So they have to go step in step, but these are independent chains which are merging, and at any given point they can go out of step, right? So optimistic sync is the sync methodology to take care of the fact that, okay, even if execution layer is out of step from the consensus layer, or it's a bit ahead or it's a bit behind, so there can be any kind of cases that can be over there. Optimistic sync will sort of make sure eventually both execution layer and consensus layer will come into sync, and then they will further on, they will proceed in a locked step manner, in a tightly coupled manner. And we are not only merge ready, we are also MEV boosted. What it really means is that you can hook up an MEV boost relay or or a builder, and basically if we will try to maximize that you get the maximum block rewards. And now these two things, it's not an either or for Lodestar. We basically run both of these workflows parallelly, and then we basically, if MEV boost sometimes can give you nothing because they might not even have a bundle to build a MEV boost block. So in that case, Lodestar will fall back on the execution block, and it will definitely not miss any opportunity to build the block, because building a block is like a lottery on the beacon chain. And I want to stress again how important is the optimistic sync in this entire process, because it seems like a very small feature, but for CL clients, it's like how there are so many ways in which execution clients can respond as to the payloads that are coming in, and CL clients will have to sort of embed those responses in their fork choice. Now, fork choice is sort of a very sensitive module of a beacon chain, which each client has to sort of make sure that they are robust over there, and they sort of evaluate it correctly. And because in the end, your heads have to match with other clients' head, otherwise you can't follow the network anymore. For EL clients, it's even more complicated, because now if the CL clients tell the execution clients that, okay, this is our head, now execution clients will have to go backfill all the way to a canonical chain if they don't have that head, and they will sort of have to execute all the blocks. They will have to build up their state all the way to where the CL head is, and in the meantime, the CL head is also moving because the blocks are coming in with each of the slots. So it's a very complicated piece, and that's why I think it deserves a mention over here. And the second thing the second awesome thing that can happen with the merge are basically, you can combine like clients and into awesome scenarios. Basically, we know so there are community members in our Lodestar Discord who are working on bridges, on embedding other Lightclient into bridges. And obviously, hardware wallets is one go-to use case. And then I just recently came to know that Get is sort of also embedding a Lightclient into into itself so that it can be used as a standalone client and provide finality. So basically finalized header and the latest header, right, as a pointer into into the execution chain. And this is basically what everybody wants. They want what is ahead and where and what is the finalized point which can't be reverted. And so light clients are can have a very important space in this new ecosystem. So that's what we want to show you over here, how a Lightclient wallet, we were able to run a Lightclient wallet in a browser, courtesy with Lodestar Lightclient and Ethereum JS. Let me just start the video. All right, so basically what we want is that everybody has their dream for where the Ethereum ecosystem is heading, and somebody wants to flip the number one cryptocurrency in the world, and somebody is just thinking about, okay, what are the benefits the merge will get. And obviously, if the data, if there is data scalability, then L2 is going to get lots and lots of boost, because L2 is totally dependent upon how much data we can bundle into our ecosystem, and that should basically shoot on the price. But what is really important is that there is a word of caution that right now, the consensus clients are sort of, not really evenly distributed, and we need to diversify the merge. We need to make sure that more and more people use minority clients, and you can do your bit by running Lodestar against any of these clients using any of the combos. We work well with Nethermind, Geth, Bezu, Ethereum JS, and Aragon as well. So choose any of the clients. If you find any problems, you can always come in our Discord, and we will be very happy to help you out and make sure that our client works well with all of these other clients. And for that, we have a very easy, quick setup guide using our merge scripts that has been written by Phil. All you just need to do is you need to edit your feed recipient. You need to just tell, okay, you want to run validator of key stores on Mnemonic. Mnemonic is only supported on the testnets, and you just need to secure your Lodestar EL communication with a JWT secret, and you just fire the command, and everything else will be done for you. All the configuration will be pulled, all the images will be pulled for you, and they all will be spinned up. So that, basically, and we are committed to maintain this setup so that there is an easy on-ramp for any user out there, and then they can basically edit the configuration over there once they know what they are doing, and use that configuration even for their production setups. And we basically invite anyone to come contribute to us. We are a very open team, and we love contributions, and we will be happy that since there is a huge developer base for TypeScript, JavaScript, we want that as many as developers who want to come look into our code, do things that are there in our pipeline, or even if they are not in our pipeline, if they add something to your applications, you can open the PR, because many times we have upstreamed the PRs that people have done and sort of integrated them into Lodestar or any of the other modules that go with it. And thanks a lot for going through this sermon of Lodestar, how Lodestar is doing with the merge.
Thank you. It was great presentation. Thank you for sharing all this information. As I mentioned in the introduction, like Lodestar is relatively new, and I'm assuming that there could be more utility apps, as also mentioned on the official website, that Lodestar is already using some of the utility apps. So the usefulness of this client implementation cannot be undervalued. Well, the presentation shared a lot of information. I have a few more questions on top of that we have collected from the community. If it's fine, we can probably take a few.
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right. So my first question is about the client. We know the project is supported by ChainSafe, which is basically a blockchain R&D firm with a multi-chain perspective. Also, Lodestar was not a part of initial client's launch when it was in 2020 with the Beacon Chain Genesis. I'm curious, what's the main motivation behind adding an Ethereum consensus client?
So the main motivation is that you have a big developer ecosystem that is out there, which is working on this Web 2.0 stack. How can you bring bring them onto this blockchain ecosystem and make sure that, and bringing them onto means that, okay, they can participate in the consensus, they can look at the code, they don't really have to learn something new to contribute. And this is sort of our goal, that okay, we want all of these developers not only to contribute but also to use Lodestar, right? And we are browser native, as you will see with our Lightclient video, that is Lodestar Lightclient directly being used in the browser. So we are browser native, and it makes sense for us to make sure that we can provide accessibility to as many developers, as many devices, and as many applications that want to embed us.
That is awesome. And in a way, it is good because Ethereum is anyway moving from proof of work to proof of stake. So if joining, why not to join with whatever is the future?
Right.
So that's also cool. Thank you. My next question is about the present and post merge for the client. We talked about different features. Some of them are actually not part of the merge, like weak subjectivity and optimistic sync is still in discussion. There is this one topic, MEV boost, which I feel is like very important pre and post merge. Maybe if you can talk a little bit about the significance of MEV boost.
Right. So basically, what really happens right now is that all these miners, they are running modified fork version of Geth or whatever is their favorite execution client right now. And what really happens is that, okay, they get bundles which they have to execute in a one particular order, and for that bundles, obviously they get fee. And what they really want to do is they want to put those bundles, embed those bundles in the block. And what enables people who are trying to bundle their transactions in is that, okay, there is some DEX exchange in which there is something, there is an opportunity to have an arbitrage, right? So for example, there is a pair that is not balanced, which is lagging behind the market. So they can sort of take arbitrage opportunities and make money in the process. So all this is good for the ecosystem because you don't want a bundle to stay out of the market rates, right? So these are the market participants who want to make sure that there is equilibrium in the ecosystem, and MEV boost allows that to happen. And so this is currently how it's happening right now. In a post-merge world, the MEV boost is sort of natively being integrated. It's not really part of the specs, but there is a very clear integration path that is really uh, that has really been churned out for MEV boost. And what's happening is that the consensus clients themselves, they will be running a parallel flow with the execution clients, so that to get the bundles. And now these are the bundles that are beneficial also for a person who's proposing a block, right? Because they get they get money for it. They get what is called a builder bid, in which basically, obviously, the bid amount has to be more than whatever the block rewards are for minting a block, right? So in a post-merge world, so now you want that a person who is running beacon chains, right? So they don't really have to worry about, okay, how do I sort of have this big infrastructure? So they can just integrate with the MEV boost relay, which will integrate with this MEV boost builders, and all the bidding, whatever their processes will happen on their platform. They have sort of created a marketplace for that. But with regard to the person who's running a validator, we really want to simplify that integration. And so that is the integration that is being called the builder integration. And in the end, it's all about how much money you can get for your block, right? So that's what we want to maximize, that our users do not lose any opportunity to have maximum profits.
Awesome. I mean, more features and more easy to join in things are provided by client. That is, I believe, is one of the criteria that a new user look for adopting any client. So I'm hoping this client will get user adoption fast with all these features enabled already.
Right. And I mean, so we hope that so people will definitely try to embed us in their apps, which are again based upon the TypeScript, JavaScript stack, and use us as much as possible.
Right.
We want to take advantage of that huge developer base. And so the first users who are going to stake, so they are going to be developers only. I mean, this is what I really believe in, or developers related roles, right? Who are sort of consider them techies. So we want to really, make sure that it's super easy for them to join in, and not only join in, but also to look into the code, because again, it's trust but verify, right?
Absolutely. Yes, of course, JavaScript is one of the popular language among the technical community. So my hope is like it will be adopted faster in the developers community.
Yep, that's our hope. Please diversify the merge, use Lodestar.
Right. Yeah, that is something that we are going to come later, the client diversity. But before there, I would like to talk a little bit about the devnet and testnet. As you mentioned that the first mainnet block was proposed somewhere in November, but you were participating before that in developers testnet. Assuming that there are high chances that you may have missed some of them. I don't know if the team were there at the time of Reone's Amphora and all. But I would be curious to hear about the overall journey and your experience with participating in public testnet and devnets.
So definitely, I mean, when we started, we would have problem at Genesis, right? Somewhere around Genesis, what would happen is that Lodestar would choke up, the memory usage would go high, and we would basically choke up at Genesis. And then basically sometimes we would choke up at the upgrade points. So we have come from that point to a point where, everything remains smooth and steady. And a lot of work has been done by the team to make sure that we keep our memory under control, and we don't use too much of CPU. So we refactored our SSD to make sure that we are really performant, because all of these things, they somehow use SSZ library in one way or the other. And our BLS integrations, we have WASM integrations so that we are again performant on our Java virtual machine. So we try really hard to make sure that we stay performant, and we have been coordinating with the teams, with other teams, in order to make sure that, okay, we are compliant with the specs. We, at the merge points, we perform really well. And so all that shows, because in all of the recent public testnet merge at merge point, Lodestar has never faltered. And we have stayed really stable, and hopefully we can continue doing that.
That is cool. Awesome. And I remember the ASCII art, the ASCII panda art after the Sepolia testnet. It was lovely. And it's really cool to watch for panda showing up after every merge on testnets. Great work there.
Thanks a lot.
I think William Schwab has a question for you.
Yep, please.
Sure. Something I've been curious a bit about with Lodestar is, so I mean, you've mentioned TypeScript, it's easy to embed. Why is there a specific need for apps, even web apps, to be able to embed a node using TypeScript? Like, why not just like the classic kind of either API call or backend, or like, where's the big gain from that?
Right, that's a brilliant question, because I mean, if you are using the gatekeepers, there is a high chance that, you know, the gatekeepers might at some point try to take advantage of you, right? But if you can natively verify the state of the blockchain in your web app using, for example, our Lightclient, basically what really happens is that you are decentralizing that trust.
So basically what you're hoping for isn't that the app itself will be embedding Lodestar, it's that each user will have a Lodestar node?
No, so I mean, it can happen in both ways, in many ways, right? So that really depends upon how the app wants to have its architecture. It can happen that app can have, for example, bridges would have just one Lightclient instance running. And it could happen that some app can decide to embed a Lightclient in the browser itself. And that's what that video shows you, that how the Lightclient is working in a browser. What it really means is that you don't transfer your trust all the way to these gatekeepers. You know, you get data from them, but can you verify that data? Now, if you have Lodestar Lightclient running, you can basically say, okay, this is the checkpoint I'll start from. Okay, and from this checkpoint, can you give me a proof that this is the snapshot that I have downloaded, that this snapshot is valid? And then you can, what are the header updates that you are getting? You are getting latest and finalized header updates on that snapshot. Can you verify that snapshot? And see, if you have those headers which are verified, then basically you can verify the data that is coming from execution layer. They have verify proof API, which is being used in our demo as well. So you can verify whether the balances that they are telling you, does that match up against the finalized or the latest header that is coming in, right? So what you are doing is you are decentralizing your trust. And I think it is very important that we move away from these gatekeepers, because then once the trust is decentralized, then you can easily switch the gatekeepers. And then maybe at some point, you can even go P2P for the gatekeepers. We hope that we reach that point.
I guess what I'm not understanding though is why it specifically needs to be embedded in a browser. Like, how would that differ from running a light client or just even a full client outside the browser? Like, what's the gain from having it specifically embedded?
I mean, again, it depends upon the architecture of the app. But the point is that if you are embedding it in the browser, and if the user trust the code that is being run in the browser, obviously they can verify because it's open source. So they can be pretty sure that, the data that the browser downloaded is not malformed, it's the true data. And so we have seen the kind of hacks that happen when basically, hackers feed you some data by taking over the gatekeeper, and then you do some transactions which you later find out, you are rug pulled. So the point really is to enable a user to sort of decentralize this trust. Again, I am using this word because decentralized means that a user can be sure that the verification has happened for him, right? Now it can happen in a browser or it can happen in the app backend, but then the app is sort of, you're putting your trust in the app. But obviously at some point, users can demand that all this happen in the browser.
So am I understanding you right when you the advantage of being able to put in the browser is the kind of the extensibility that you're able to build something on top of that should be able to verify information in dApps for a user very easily, as opposed to it being kind of a more manual process?
Correct. And basically what we want is that users should be freely able to switch their gatekeepers, right? So we want them to move from gatekeepers to P2P, right? So you don't basically then rely upon the APIs. You will rely upon peer-to-peer network to feed you the data. And that's where the real decentralization will happen, because then no gatekeeper can sort of take advantage of you, because the trust is decentralized. Now, why do everyone really, is okay using Infura? Because they really trust Infura, right? How can you decentralize that trust? That is the question over here.
Ah, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right. That is good. I think the decentralization of Infura is also very important here, because that has been a center place. And with this merge upgrade, it is said that do not use Infura for even running your execution client, right?
Yep, correct. Because the connection between your consensus and execution client is assumed to be of full trust, right? So there is 100% trust that is happening over there, because your execution client will feed you wrong data, you will definitely follow a wrong chain. That is the worst scenario. In the best scenario, you will just not be able to sync and follow the chain.
Right. Right. And my last set of questions are related with the client's combination and then the client diversity. According to you, which one would you think is a good combination to run with Lodestar, the execution layer client?
So I would go for a minority combination, so that we also have diversity on the execution layer side. So maybe Nethermind is a good combo, but we play nice with everyone, and we would want you to try running Lodestar with everyone, because if we are running with everyone, we are robust, right? So we don't really want to have a preference, but you can start with Nethermind and then move to the other clients, because testing other clients is just changing the argument in that simple setup, the link for which has been provided. So you can just change an argument and spin up a different client. And since the client support optimistic sync, it doesn't matter whether the Lodestar is synced ahead or they are starting afresh, or they were synced ahead and Lodestar is starting afresh, right? So that's all that matching is done by optimistic sync, and we are very proud to support it.
That is very good to know. I know optimistic sync is a topic that we probably would be having on our show, like we will be having some guests to explain it in detail, but this high level information of the flexibility that it is providing to use any combination is good to know.
Yep. And basically, if you try different combinations, you can see, you can run, for example, geth in one, and then you can stop it and then switch on to Nethermind and then switch back to geth. So you can see how the clients are behaving and how robust is optimistic sync. And I think it's a great spec that has come out of the entire merge effort.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, all the research work which are being added by the Ethereum researchers and community are great. We are hoping to make the network really robust one.
And we also have, we can also say that we contributed to one part of the optimistic sync, and which was adding safe slots to sync optimistic, right? So which is basically at the merge point. Basically, if you get a block whose execution, whose terminal block, which is the last proof of work block that is referred to post merge, if that is not available, then basically every client, if all the clients import that block, all the clients will go into a syncing mode, and they will stop following the chain. So the network will break. So we contributed to that module where we have this window safe slots to import optimistic blocks. So which is currently set to 128 slots, in which you can't use optimistic sync to import the blocks at the merge time, so that you don't run into these kind of scenarios. So that is a contribution that has come out of the Lodestar team.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing this. I hope that we will have either someone from Lodestar or from the research team on this topic to be presented on this show, so we can have a deep dive into it. Well, the next one is my favorite one. It's about the client diversity. Would you like to share your thoughts on the present client diversity ratio? I know that there is a need on both the execution side and even on the consensus side to come up with a better ratio. How do you think Lodestar will be able to increase the current network share?
So, I mean, so I think the primary channel is, so the primary way to make sure that happens is that to be present on all the places. For example, on Rocket Pool, we basically implemented a feature for Doppelganger, so that we can be on Rocket Pool and people can use us. So easy accessibility is one of the key things, and we are trying to make sure that we are present everyone, we are integrated with everyone, and then we are trying to make sure that we are very on par with other clients in terms of possibility, in terms of profitability, and we definitely want to have state-of-the-art features like MEV boost, and make sure that we provide opportunity for our users not to be left behind in any way. So that is sort of and then there are outreach that we are trying to do. We are trying to make sure that you can spin up execution client combos with Lodestar in an easy manner. So we are trying to do all those things so that people they don't need to think twice. They can just join any testnet, and if they find Lodestar performance satisfactory, they can use us for production. As well as our Discord is very friendly. People have sort of said that this is the friendliest client team that is out there on the Discord, because we take whatever troubleshootings come in our way very seriously, and we go extra mile to help out our users.
That is very sweet of the team. I understand there are a lot of development work involved, and on top of them, providing support to users via Discord is really great to have. Well, it's time to wrap up. Any message for the Ethereum community, Lodestar users, or potential users of the client?
So we just want to say that, okay, don't think twice, just run that single command, and we have very easy setup for you. Just try us out, and if you have any feedback, just let us know. Come in our Discord. We're happy to help you out.
Cool. These are great words, and I'm sure these are comforting as well for new users. Well, it's my thought that Ethereum implementation in TypeScript may have a lot of potential in future. And I hope the information shared today will be helpful for validators considering running a Lodestar node for consensus layer. Gajinder, we appreciate you taking out time and talking about client apps, features, and merge preparation. Thank you a lot.
Thanks, Pooja. Thanks. Very happy to be here to present all the work that we have done and hope to continue doing that and make sure we make the Ethereum ecosystem proud of us.
Of course. And on this note, thanks to everyone watching or listening this special episode on the merge. Should you have any question, leave a comment or reach us at eTgather's Discord. Check out description for links to useful resources and guest Twitter to follow. Check out Know Your Client playlist to follow the recordings of merge special talks with different clients. Subscribe to the channel for more useful resources coming up your way. Keep sharing your love with Ethereum cat herders. Cheers.